All right, folks, we are live. Welcome here to my weekly Sunday live stream where I go live here from my home studio here in Nashville, Tennessee at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I go live here every week here on YouTube as long as I'm here in town. And I always really look forward to doing these. I really appreciate everybody joining up. And we've had some amazing live streams in the past, some incredible engagement. And I just love being able to answer y'all's questions and connect with everybody. It's just really a wonderful platform, and it's a really amazing system. And I think it's just been so cool to see so many regular faces show up here, regular names that I see here in the chat. And so, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer any and all questions. The only questions that I try to stay away from are anything that would interfere with my one-on-one online lessons. It just simply wouldn't be fair for the people out there that are hiring me, that are paying me to teach them. If I just gave away free information here on YouTube, wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So those are the only questions that I stay away from. So I'll just assess the question as they come in, and I'd be happy to answer it. So let's see here. We've got a few comments already here. We've got Keith in the house. Hey Keith, how's it going? Thanks so much for being here, man. Great to see you. Says here, what's up, Justin? Man, not too much. I just been kind of chilling this morning, man, but I went out last night to go watch some football, and I was really sad to see the Lions lose, man. I was really hoping the Lions would go all the way to the Super Bowl. I was really honestly hoping for a Lions and Bills Super Bowl, but unfortunately the Lions lost, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Bills here today. It'll be a really good game. So it's some really amazing football games coming up here. But I just had a really fun time last night. I kind of figured the Chiefs would win last night, but I was really sad to see the Lions lose. So I was really hoping they would go all the way. But other than that, just been kind of chilling, man. Just haven't really been doing much. I've been writing some new original material, which I'm really excited about, and just been making some videos and doing my gigs. So just working a lot as a musician, which is great. But just kind of the usual. And we've also got Randall in the house. Hey Randall, how's it going? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, Justin, good morning, dude. Good morning, Randall. Appreciate you so much being here. It's really, really kind of you to be here. And thank you everybody for being here. Looks like we've got some more people joined up here. Let's see. Keith says here, do you want an amp question? Yeah, sure, that's fine. And we also have Ben in the house. Hey Ben, how's it going? Says here, hey Justin, glad I caught you. Thanks so much for being here, Ben. Another very regular and very loyal supporter here as well, along with Randall and Keith here. So a lot of familiar names here. But thanks so much for being here, folks. I really appreciate it. I always really look forward to doing these. It's always really cool to catch up with everybody and see how everybody's doing. And I like to donate my time here on these live streams. I literally make nothing on these live streams. I just do this, honestly, just to connect with everybody out there and just show my appreciation to everybody out there that watches my videos. It's just really amazing what this community has turned into, and it's just amazing what this channel has become, and I couldn't do it without you guys, so I always like to just take the time to show my appreciation to everybody out there that watches the show. So again, thank you so much for that. And we have James in the house. Hey James, how's it going? Says here, happy belated birthday. Thank you, James. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it was last Sunday, but I like to consider the whole month of January my birthday. I don't just have one day. I think the whole month is my birthday. That's right. Hell yeah. So I'm still out there celebrating, and turned 29 last Sunday, and just had quite the birthday blowout last Sunday. I went out and just was watching football and was just kind of bar hopping and had some really good food, so it was a really good celebration. But before all of that, I did my weekly live stream. So for those out there that are just joining us for the first time, go and check out that live stream, and check out my other videos as well while you're at it. It was a fun birthday. It was really cool to go live and hang out with you guys for a bit on the birthday. It was awesome. But let's see here. Keith says here, I have a small tube amp. It's a hybrid Super Champ XD. I don't know that one, but when I flip it on and it warms up, I get a low volume white noise. Do you think it's a preamp tube or a speaker issue? It still works / sounds fine. That's hard to say. A low volume white noise. I mean, is it like a higher gain kind of amp, or you're just hearing like a little bit of hissing, or I mean, that's kind of hard to say. I mean, without actually hearing what the sound is. I mean, what you could do is just take like a pencil or something and just kind of tap like all of the tubes that are within the amp and just see if you hear any kind of microphonic noise. If you tap a particular tube with this pencil or like a stick or something and you really hear something come through the amplifier, then I would really recommend changing out the tubes, or that particular tube, that is, at least. But I don't know, man, a low volume white noise, that's kind of hard to diagnose. That's kind of a general description. But let's see. Little hissing. I understand it's hard to figure it out without hearing it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it could be a lot of things. I just would take like a pencil or something and just kind of tap the preamp tubes, or like take a little stick or something, and just see if you get any kind of loud noises coming through your speaker. And if you hear something, then that definitely means the preamp tube is bad, so you'll want to change it out. But it's kind of hard to diagnose without hearing it, so, and without seeing what's going on there. And he says here, was wondering, since you're a tube amp guy, thanks for answering. Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, I love tube amps. They can be problematic. There's no questioning that. I actually was recording an intro the other day with my 50-watt Plexi, and I popped a fuse, so I got to get that swapped out. And I really should have new tubes in there as well, so that'll be a pretty pricey repair. And it's kind of the thing with tube amps. I love them. I love the way they sound, but when something goes down with them, man, it can definitely be expensive, with retubing and paying for the labor, paying for the parts or whatever. So it's definitely the trade-off with using tube amps, for sure. It can definitely get expensive with the repair and stuff, but I just love them, man. There's nothing better. The way that those amps sit in a mix, when you take them out on the road, or if you're recording with them, whatever, there's just nothing better, in my opinion. The amp modeling stuff just doesn't do it for me, and especially the way that I play. I'm so used to using the guitar volume knob to clean up and I play so dynamically, and that's my big gripe with the amp modelers, is that they just don't respond to the guitar volume at all. And that's really my big issue with those things, man. It's hard for me to get used to that, where it doesn't do anything. If you use the guitar volume knob, it just doesn't clean up. It doesn't do anything. So it's just weird. It's totally weird for me. Not used to that at all. Like, I'm used to playing a Les Paul or an SG or something with a Marshall, and you clean up with the guitar volume knob, and you can get a nice clean tone, and then you can roll it up to 10 and get a gain sound happening. So let's see. Keith says here, I feel ya. I really want a Princeton Reverb reissue. Yeah, definitely. Man, you could rule the world with one of those amps, man. A Princeton Reverb or Deluxe. I mean, that's honestly what I use a lot of the time out on the road. I'll just use a Deluxe Reverb reissue and turn it up to 3 or 4, and I have these little pedal boards. Oh, and that's actually another thing that went down, was my pedal board. The output cable on my GE7 is bad, so I got to get that fixed as well. So a lot of stuff has just been going down lately, which sucks. But I still have my small pedal board, but really that's all I need. It's just 5 pedals. I have this RC boost, a Lightspeed, a GE7, Strymon Brigadier, and then a Line 6 HX1. And I'll just plug it up to the front end of a Deluxe, turn the Deluxe up to 3, and just hit it with pedals. You may have seen my pedal board video that I did on it, but I just love this setup. I've just been using this since my main one went down, so I've got to get that fixed. But it's just always something with the gear, never ends. But yeah, once again, folks, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box, and I'd be happy to answer it. Once again, I try to stay away from any questions that would interfere with my one-on-ones. So I'll just assess your question and answer it from there. And if it's something that's fine, which normally it's totally fine, I just don't like to answer any questions that would interfere with the lessons. But anything else goes. So whatever you guys have for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. And I really appreciate everybody joining up once again. And thank you so much for watching all of the latest videos. the views have just been through the roof, and the channel's just been growing like crazy, and it's just amazing. I've gotten so many nice comments and so many nice emails from people from all over the world, and just really appreciate that once again. So Keith says here, does it even begin to break up at 3? Yeah, it will a little bit. If you turn it up to 3 or especially 4, really once you start to get past 5, you're really just going to keep getting more gain. It's not going to get much louder at that point. You're just going to keep getting more and more distortion off of the amp. And to me, it just doesn't really sound good when you crank them all the way up. They just get real flubby, and I don't know. I like it where it's just on like 3 or 4 and then just hit it with some pedals. But you could just plug straight up into it and just turn it up to 10 and maybe roll the bass all the way off, just turn it to 0, There's several ways you could use a deluxe reverb. It's just, for me, I like to use it with pedals and like a pedal board setup. Just for the kind of Nashville style music that I get hired on for, it just makes life so much easier where you can just elevate the amount of gain that you're playing with and just hit it with pedals. You can have clean delays and clean reverbs, and you can just use like the Line 6 stuff like the M9 or the HX effects or whatever, and all of the effects will sound good with a deluxe reverb. You don't have to worry about the amp distorting, and then the delays aren't clean repeats. They don't sound as good because the amp is already distorting and your delay is going into the front end of it. So I just like to keep it a little bit cleaner, but I like the volume to be up because you just get more out of the amp, and that's something with a lot of guitar players that they make a lot of mistakes on. And they'll say like, oh, this amp is so bright, or oh, there's so much low end or whatever, like it just doesn't sound good. And the reason why that is because they have the volume down so low. You have to get these amps to open up. You got to get that power amp section working. That's really where the tone is with the amp, for sure. So, and we've got Jerry Carey in the house. Hey man, how's it going? Thanks so much for being here. Another regular supporter here of the live stream and the channel. Says here, does it go to 11? Yes it does. No, it doesn't. The deluxe reverbs just go to 10, but man, they sound great. Just love them. I sold the 66 deluxe reverb recently that I probably shouldn't have sold. It's a really good sounding amp, but you just can't keep it all, man. This stuff is just not cheap, man. It's so expensive, but it's just crazy. But I was over at Carter Vintage yesterday, and man, they had this 69 SG Walnut Custom that was just amazing. I mean, it's priced way too high from the consignor, to be honest. But I just was playing this thing yesterday, and I was like, damn, man, that thing is so good. But they just want way too much money. And just kind of made me think of that, because I was just talking about how expensive all this stuff is, man. It is not cheap. That is for damn sure. But it's all about what inspires you. It's all about what you like. And these vintage instruments, man, there's just nothing better, man. When you find that right one, it's just amazing. Vintage amplifiers sound great too. But the thing is, for me with vintage amps is they're just very unreliable. That's the biggest thing with those, man. Like, I love the way that they sound, but man, I just feel like there's always something up with them. Especially if they're sitting around too long. For whatever reason, I don't know why that is, but like, man, if you don't play it for a good while, if it's been a few months since you turned on the tube amp, I feel like something is gonna go wrong, man, for sure with it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but it's they sound great. I love these old Plexis and these old Bassmans. They sound amazing, and the Plexis and the Bassmans, really, for me, they've been very reliable. I've got to say, knock on wood. I've been lucky with them for sure, but there's just nothing that sounds better. But definitely unreliable, for sure. Can be, at least. But yeah, folks, once again, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. And I do want to take the time to mention here, folks, that I offer one-on-one online lessons. You're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. Everything is shot in a 4K definition camera. It's all pro video and pro audio. And what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end. So you can simply download the video once we're done, and you can rewatch the lesson as many times as you like, so you can retain the information that I give out within these lessons. So for some more information on this, hit me up today at jkm4231@gmail.com. That's also going to be linked down below in the description box. Thank you for that. Let's see, Randall says here, I'm looking at a 64 Deluxe, not original cabinet or speakers, but it sounds great with a Celestian Gold. That's cool. Is it a deluxe reverb or a non-reverb? Or I'd be curious what kind of deluxe in particular. You know, those pre-CBS Fender Deluxe reverbs or even Princeton reverbs, for whatever reason, you know, they do sound a little bit different than the CBS era Deluxes or Princetons. You know, I just feel like there's a little bit more mid-range, there's a little bit more gain off of the pre-CBS Fender stuff in comparison to the CBS. Now, the CBS stuff sounds great, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, it sounds amazing, but you know, there's something a little bit extra, something a little bit more you get off of the pre-CBS Fenders, just in my opinion. But that's cool. Let's see here. Keith says here, hey Justin, you're doing a great job. Thank you for answering my questions. I have to head out. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks, Keith. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here. Take care, man. And Randall says here, just deluxe. Yeah, so no reverb. That's cool. Yeah, those can be cool, man. The non-verb deluxes, you know. In my opinion, they are a little bit different sounding than the actual deluxe reverb amps, just in my opinion. But they still can be cool. They still are great amps. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. So plug it up, you know, turn it up and check it out. See what you think, you know. Again, if it's something that inspires you, go with it, man. Who cares? You know, I mentioned that on my video when I was responding to the whole feud with the 59 Les Paul. And, you know, I wanted to talk a little bit about that here on today's, you know, live stream. And, you know, it's all about whatever inspires you, you know. I'm happy to share my opinions. You know, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, for a while now at this point. And I have a lot of experience professionally and a lot of experience with the gear and just everything. So I'm happy to share my opinion. But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, folks, I just wanted to say that it's all about whatever inspires you to play music, to play guitar, to pick up your instrument, and just create. You know, don't worry about what somebody else has to say, you know. There's no right or wrong way within music. You know, it's all about whatever it is that inspires you. You know, and for everybody, it's so different, you know, and that's the beautiful thing with music and with art is that there's no right or wrong way, you know, it's totally up to the individual. And, you know, I just wanted to take the time to mention this because I just feel like there's so many opinions out there and so much stuff. And it's like, man, it's all about just finding your own sound. It's all about what works for you. So I just wanted to mention that. And since I was talking about, you know, this deluxe, the non-verb deluxe, you know, if that amp inspires you and you like it, you like the way it sounds, do that, you know, go with it and rock it, turn it up and play music and have fun. Let's see, we've got Backpacker 516 in the house. Hey man, how's it going? Thanks so much for being here, really appreciate it. Says here, hey Justin, hope you had a good birthday. Yes, definitely did, thank you for that, appreciate it. He says, have you ever had a drunk or intoxicated set on your equipment or try to grab your guitar when you're playing? Oh, you probably, okay, person, yeah, okay, gotcha. Have you ever had a drunk or intoxicated person on or drink on your equipment or try to grab your guitar when you're playing? Oh yeah, definitely. I've had all kinds of crazy stuff, man, happen. There's so many stories, man, I could tell you. So many just crazy happenings of just crazy people doing crazy stuff. I can't even share that here on today's live stream, to be honest, you know. I've had so many crazy experiences out there, man, you wouldn't believe it. It's incredible. But I have had all kinds of stuff. I remember in particular, there was this one girl one time that came up on stage, and she was wearing one of these like overshirts that like had like holes in them, in like the shirt. And I remember one time, one of my tuners actually got stuck on her shirt, and I was trying to play, and like I'm trying to get the guitar and like trying to get the shirt off of the tuner. Like, oh man, that's just one that comes to mind. That's PG, But I mean, man, I've had all kinds of crazy experiences out there for sure. So I just can't share it here on the live stream. That's for sure. There's no way in hell I could share that here today. But thanks for the question, man. I appreciate it. Randall says here, I'm using a Mesa Boogie Tweed left out and a 69 Super Reverb right at the moment. Sounds amazing playing country music. That's awesome. Very cool, man. Enjoy. That's great. So doing a stereo setup. That's awesome. Yeah, stereo is really cool. It really sounds good. It's a really just wide and just massive guitar sound. I feel like for the live thing, it can be a little bit much, just in my opinion. I normally like to do like what you're doing though, where like if you're running 2 amps, like get like 2 different tones and combine those together. Like something that I've done in the past is like I'll take my matchless, which is like more of a Vox kind of style guitar tone, and I can blend it with like either a deluxe reverb or a Marshall or something like this, and run 2 amps together where you get 2 unique tones. So that's a cool way to do it. But like really running stereo, like stereo delays and stereo reverbs and stuff, I just kind of feel like that kind of stuff just gets lost in the live mix. It just really does. So all of that kind of stuff, I really just keep mono. I normally like to do like what you're doing though, just run 2 amplifiers that have 2 different tones, but keep all of the effects in mono. So maybe like a chorus could be cool stereo, but of course a delay, like all of that stuff sounds amazing. There's nothing better like a stereo delay or a stereo reverb, but I just feel like it kind of gets lost in a live gig, just in my opinion, But in general, that stuff sounds amazing. There's nothing better than a stereo delay or a reverb or a chorus or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Sounds like a cool setup for sure. But yeah, folks, once again, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. And also, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. There's many ways that you can support this channel. And, these live streams, folks, are truly a donation of time. I don't make anything on these live streams. I just donate my time just to hang out with you guys and talk about guitars and talk about music and just answer y'all's questions. And I just love to show my appreciation to everybody out there that watches the videos and supports my music and my art. It really has changed my life, and I could not do it without you guys. So I really thank you again for that. But if you guys would like to support this channel, feel free to throw a little love in the Venmo Tip Jar or the PayPal Tip Jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream. Any and all support is really, really appreciated. So thank you for that. And let's see, Randall says here, that's what I've ended up doing, turning down my reverb and delays. I'm basically getting down to nothing, LOL. That's cool. Yeah, man, I'm not a big reverb guy. I just, you really don't need it. And especially on a live gig, I mean, you're already hearing the room, so I don't really understand the obsession with reverbs. I'll never really understand that. I mean, it's one thing if you're going for like a particular like long reverb that's like really washed out and really has a particular effect, but just to have a little bit of reverb or to have a reverb always on or something like this, I don't really understand what the point of that is. For me, I like a dry guitar sound. I like to just be able to have no reverb and just let the room do the work. And I just think the guitar tone is so much better that way, instead of having a reverb and then you're also getting the room as well. So just in my opinion, but I think a lot of guitar players are really obsessed with the reverb. Now, I like a little bit of slapback delay on the guitar. That's a cool thing, and it feels good under the hands and under the fingers, but I just don't really like reverb. I'm not a big reverb guy, to be honest. So, and if I'm doing the stereo thing, it's not really stereo. It's it's really more of a dual mono thing where I'm taking two amplifiers like I was talking about earlier and having the matchless on one side and then a Fender Deluxe Reverb on the other side, or maybe a matchless and a Marshall, or even a Deluxe and a Marshall, or whatever, right? Like, that's why for me, I like to do that. And, for me with these amplifiers, it really comes down to Fender, Vox, and Marshall. That's really what I like. And that's what I use all the time. It's really those three unique tones. And all of these boutique amplifier companies and all these guys that are making all this gear and stuff, like, it's all really based upon one or two or all three of those tones. It's all based upon a Fender or a Vox or a Marshall. It's always a take. It's always a slight little tweak on that, or whatever. So it's just kind of funny. It's like, and then for some of the prices on some of this stuff, it's like, man, I would rather just get the real deal, man. Just get a real 68 plexi, or just hold on, man, instead of spending what some of these amps are selling for, man. They're like $4,000 or $5,000 brand new reissue amps. Like, it's crazy, man, crazy. And all it is just like a slight tweak or a mod on a Marshall or something. It's like, man, if I'm gonna be spending $5,000 on a new amp, I would rather just hold off and find a 68 plexi, man, with original transformers and just rock that. So it's kind of funny, but to each their own. Let's see. Backpacker says here about insurance. What do pro musicians do for health insurance? Good question. And general insurance of your gear. Do you keep a close eye on your stuff when you're not on stage and at a venue? Man, really good question. Yeah. So, I mean, I tell you, man, that's a really, that's a huge thing, the health insurance thing. I know a lot of guys that they don't even have health insurance. They don't carry anything. So they don't pay anything per month. And man, if something happens, I don't want to speak for people that don't have health insurance. I really feel bad. And I think it's just, it's a really a shame, how expensive it is and how crazy it can be with all of that stuff. But, I honestly don't know what people do if you don't have health insurance. I don't understand that, and it's just something that I've talked about here on this channel because, for me as a 29-year-old, I'm single, I'm a healthy guy, I don't have any issues, but I pay a premium for it every single month, but you got to have it in case something happens, It's incredibly expensive. It is incredibly expensive, and this is all speculation, but I just don't know what that looks like, if you are 50, if you're 55, if you're 60, you're double my age, or, you have kids or whatever your situation is, that health insurance has to be astronomical. It has to be unbelievably expensive. So I don't know for that situation like that, but I honestly will say, man, like, as a 29-year-old single professional musician, this is all I do. I just play music. There's a lot of guys on here that actually have day jobs. They have other stuff. They work in IT or they do other stuff. For me, this is all I do. I'm a musician full time. This is all I do. So I'm completely self-employed. I'm responsible for everything myself. So it's incredibly expensive. And you're talking about general insurance for the gear. Yes, of course, you got to have that. You got to have that because when you're out there out on tour and out on the road and stuff, your gear is just taking a beating, man. It's just taking a beating. And you never know, if the road crew takes a forklift and one of the fork arms, when they go to lift up the pallet of all the gear, if that crushes into your gear and hits your amplifier or hits your guitar case or something, that stuff is screwed, man. And you got to have insurance in case something happens. Now, a lot of artists will actually have insurance that they just carry themselves. But even for you as a musician in general, you definitely want to have it, in case something happens to your gear or somebody steals it or, whatever happens, So I have that as well. And that's nowhere near the cost of what health insurance is. It's not bad at all. But health insurance is astronomical, man. It is so expensive. And then on top of that, you still have to pay out of pocket for a lot of the services that you have done. Of course it'll cover some stuff, but you're still going to have to pay out of pocket for a lot of stuff as well. So it's incredibly expensive, man. It is unbelievable. And Your other question here, do you keep a close eye? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you just never know. Sometimes on some gigs you'll have a tech where they're watching over the stuff, right? And, they'll keep an eye on it for you. But, like, if I were to travel or tour with my 61 ES335, I would literally just keep that with me at all times. I would never let it go. I would never trust a tech. I would never trust anybody with it. I would just keep it all myself, and bring it back to the hotel room and just wait it out until the gig and bring it over there and play it. So I always have eyes and I always have my hands on it, because the other thing with this is that when you're playing these big festivals, there are crews, man. There are guys that are just hired on for the day that their whole job is to unload the trailer. It's to set up the stage, to load all the gear, to unload the trailer, to, hands. There's guys, there are so many people just everywhere. It's amazing the amount of people that it takes to run a show. I think a lot of people don't actually understand how much goes into this. I mean, it is unbelievable the amount of people that are hanging out, that are around, that are working these shows. And that's the thing you really have to be careful of, is like, if you have really expensive instruments up there on stage, you don't know these stagehands, man. You don't know the local crew, and it's not to throw them under the bus, but the thing is like, those crews, these guys are just random guys that you do not know. You do not know at all. They have no affiliation with any of the artists or any of the crew that you personally work with. They're just hired on hands that are, that have a particular job. So you really have to be very careful, because I've heard all kinds of stories of guys where they leave their vintage guitar in their vault or something, and, they didn't have a tech, or their tech, didn't keep an eye on it, or whatever the hell happened. And all of a sudden, one of the guys just all of a sudden takes their instrument and just walks off with it, I've heard of all kinds of stories where people have stolen gear, and I've heard all kinds of crazy stories. So, yeah, really, really good questions, man. Really solid questions. So that's really great for sure. So thanks for the questions on that. And yeah, it's definitely a thing, man. I mean, the health insurance, just to summarize it, I mean, the health insurance thing is a huge issue. And I know a lot of guys that don't even have it, so I don't know what people do if something happens, honestly. And, it's not any of my business, but I'm just saying, I don't know what you do, and, the insurance for the gear is crucial. You got to have it in case something happens, or if somebody steals something, if something breaks, whatever happens. And yes, I definitely keep a close eye on all the gear for sure. So, but yeah, really solid questions there. Thanks, Backpacker. Appreciate that. And, once again, folks, if you guys feel like you got something out of today's live stream so far, and you guys would like to support this channel, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. And feel free to throw a little love in the Venmo tip jar, or the PayPal tip jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream. Any and all support is really, really appreciated. These live streams are truly a donation of time. I don't make anything on this. Literally nothing. I make zero. Nothing on these live streams. So I just do this just to donate my time, just to hang out with you guys and connect with everybody. And once again, show my appreciation to everybody out there that watches my content and my videos. It really means the world to me. It really does. And it's just so fulfilling, and it's so rewarding to do this stuff. I love creating the intros and creating the music and sharing it with everybody, and just knowing that I wrote all of that and I created that video, and it's just responding. It's just getting out to so many people, and so many people are responding to it. It's just awesome. So let's see. Randall says here, when you book a pro show, is it normal for the promoter to pay the balance after deposit days after the show? As far as that stuff goes, as the hired on musician, I don't deal with any of that side of the booking. I only deal with the business manager of the artist, or even it could be the artist themselves. So as far as that stuff goes, I don't have any kind of dealing in that world. But yeah, this is something a lot of the time, I know even like early on here in Nashville, You know, there's these artists, man, that, they have to wait until the check clears for them to pay the musicians and everybody that is working for them. And just in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I feel that that is completely wrong. It's totally the wrong way to do business. The whole thing with this is like when you are hiring on independent contractors, the second that you step off the bus, the van, the plane, whatever it is you're traveling in, and you are back home, you should have a check, cash, PayPal, Venmo, whatever it is that they're paying you with, and that should be immediately in your hands, ready to be cashed, ready to be deposited in your account. You should not have to wait whatsoever. Now, it's a totally different situation if you are salaried with the artist. If this is something that is a full-time job, that is a salary gig, there's a difference there. There's absolutely a difference there. But if you are an independent contractor that is just for hire, you should not have to wait whatsoever. As soon as the service is completed, you should have the money, the check, the PayPal, the Venmo, whatever it is, in hand, ready to be cashed immediately. But that is the thing with a lot of these guys. And, sometimes it could even be something, too, where the business manager, they actually mail you a check in the mail. So sometimes the mail can take forever, and it takes a while. And so I could do a gig on a weekend or a run if it's 2-3 shows or whatever. And sometimes I won't get paid until maybe the following Wednesday or the following Tuesday, or sometimes it'll actually be in my mailbox on Monday, but very, very rarely, for sure. And it's a huge thing for sure here that goes on a lot. And I think what a lot of it is, especially with smaller artists that operate like that, is honestly because they don't have the money to actually be able to pay you immediately. They have to wait until the check is cleared, and then they can pay everybody working for them. But that is not at all how it should work, at all. When it comes to being an independent contractor, you provide a service, you get paid. As soon as the service is complete, 100% of that balance should be paid. That's exactly how it should work. But nobody operates like that, it seems. Hardly at all. And then there's stuff like here in town where it's like you'll go and do the gigs, or like, and you'll have to wait a day or something, which that's fine. It's all good, like whatever, but it just makes no sense to me. Like when you're traveling and when you're going out there on the road, it just makes no sense to me whatsoever why people operate like that. It just really blows my mind. But that's a very common thing to see with artists, for sure, here in Nashville, for sure. But anyways, that is what that is. And let's see. Randall says here, we have a 2-night show that is big money, and in the contract the promoter states they pay the balance within 5 days after the show. The promoter is from out of the country and they're not from here. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a little weird. I mean, I would think you should have a check in hand as soon as the gig is over with. I wouldn't be waiting 5 days. I mean, you should have a check in hand and then take it to the bank. And maybe I could see like that the check would maybe take a couple days to clear. Maybe that could be a possibility. But you should definitely have a check in hand at the end of the gig for sure. So that's a little squirrely, I think, there. Backpacker says here, has there ever been a time where you were hired and found an instrument you've never heard / seen before at a gig? Was there a song you had to play on a guitar that was wildly unconventional? Man, let's see. Found an instrument you've never heard or seen before at a gig. Not really, no. Not that I can think of. I've never seen, no. I mean, for the kind of music I get hired on for, it's very traditional kind of setups, I mean, guitar, bass, drums, keys sometimes, tracks, of course. A lot of bands using tracks. Drums, singers. I mean, it's all kind of, sometimes a mandolin, but, it's unfortunate a lot of the time with utility instruments, whether it's steel or mandolin or banjo or any of this kind of stuff, a lot of that stuff has been replaced by tracks now. So you don't really see a lot of guys that are playing that stuff anymore nowadays because all the bands use tracks, so a lot of the gigs have really dried up for that kind of stuff, and I play mandolin as well. And to be honest, I very rarely ever play mandolin on a gig ever because it's all on tracks. So it's kind of crazy. But let's see, was there a song you had to play on a guitar that was wildly unconventional? No, not that I could think of. It's always a pain if you don't have a tech and you're capoing the guitar and the songs are going, they're transitioning really quickly, because you got to hope that the capo and the electric is totally in tune. And I remember a while ago I was working with an artist that had a lot of songs that needed a capo on it because of the particular voicings that were on the recording. And I decided to get one of those Evertune. It was a Telecaster that had an Evertune bridge on there. And that was really nice because I didn't have a tech on that gig, and I could use the capo and be able to move the capo all over the fretboard, and that guitar would be totally in tune. Whereas if I took out a regular electric guitar, it was always kind of a question mark if it would be in tune or not. You would go to grab it out of the vault, and it's like, oh man, I hope this thing is in tune, But with that Evertune, it really just took the pressure off, and I've got to say it works really well. I mean, those things definitely affect the way you play, and it definitely affects the tone of the electric. But if you are doing a lot of those capos and you need to be able to move quickly during a set, man, that thing is really convenient, man, I've got to say. Where you can move this capo all over the fretboard, man, and it'll be totally in tune no matter how that capo is placed. It's really, really solid for that kind of stuff. So I will say, man, that is pretty dang convenient for sure, where, if you can't bring all of these different electric guitars, excuse me, if you can't bring all of these electric guitars and you don't have a tech to be able to instantly change out these guitars and they're already tuned up, ready to go, man, if you just bring that one Evertune and you capo it up, it's really good, man. I've got to say, it works really, really well. So I would definitely say it really affects the tone, and it really affects the way that you play. It's hard to describe, but it's not the same feeling at all as like a stop tail. It's just totally different. So I would say that, but if you are doing a lot of capoing, man, it's really convenient and works great. So, but yeah, man, really good questions. Thank you all so much. I've already been going for about 45 minutes here already, so hard to believe. But thank you all so much for being here once again. And if you guys, again, feel like you got something out of today's live stream and you guys would like to support the channel, feel free to throw a super chat here in today's live stream, or even throw a little love in the Venmo or PayPal tip jar. Any and all support is really, really appreciated. And also check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. I offer one-on-one online consultations, and you're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these consultations. Everything is shot on a 4K definition camera. It's all pro video and pro audio. And what's so cool with these lessons and these consultations is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the consultation at the very end. So you can simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you like. It's a really amazing platform, and it just works incredibly well. It is literally as if we are sitting right next to each other doing this lesson in real time. I mean, there's no freezing up, no glitching up whatsoever. And I've really taken the time and I've spent the money and I've put the effort into this system so that it is really, really solid. This is not half-assed at all. It's not shot on an iPhone. It's not half-assed. It really is professional, and it's very solid. Once again, this is the exact setup that I actually use for these consultations. So to get some more information on this, be sure to hit me up today at jkm4231@gmail.com. That's jkm4231@gmail.com. And it's also going to be linked down below in the description box. So send me an email, and I'd be happy to get you on the books today. Thank you for listening. Let's see. Backpacker says here, what guitar do you use that can cover the most ground at a gig? Maybe if you could only bring one guitar on a tour, or if you're playing with a band that plays multiple genres. Yeah, good question, man, for sure. So really, if you had just a Tele, that could do just about everything. But really what I would say is I would actually look at an HSS Strat. Now, an HSS Strat would have a humbucking pickup in the bridge position, and then it would have 2 single coils. Those guitars are incredibly versatile, because if you're playing multiple genres, if you're playing pop, if you're playing rock, country, all that kind of stuff, an HSS guitar is very flexible, it's very versatile. It can really cover a lot of ground, as you were saying, and it can really get a lot of different guitar tones. It's just very flexible and it's very versatile. So really, if you were playing on a cover gig that played all kinds of different music, I would really recommend an HSS Strat, so that this way you have the humbucking pickup that's a nice fat bridge pickup sound, and then you have your 2 single coils as well. So if you needed to play pop, something that had maybe like a funky guitar part or something, you could put it on position 2 or 3 or the neck pickup or whatever, and get these really awesome single coil tones, because they're real single coils. Of course, you're not going to have the single coil in the bridge, so you're going to have a humbucker in the bridge, but it's just a really flexible guitar. It really works well. So honestly, if you were to go with an HSS Strat and maybe a Tele, man, that would be incredible. I think that would be amazing. And if you are into 335s as well, that also is a guitar that covers a lot of ground. You could go that route as well. And for me, I'm a Gibson guy, so I love old Gibsons. Obviously, I've done many videos talking about these instruments, but I'm just a huge fan of 335s and a huge fan of Gibson in general. So that would be another guitar that would cover a lot of ground. So I would say, really, if you were to just pick one guitar, an HSS Strat would really get you there for sure. It would really cover a lot of ground. So good question, though. Let's see. The Orchard Park Band is in the house. Hey, man. How's it going? Thanks so much for being here. It says here, do you read music, and does that matter in Nashville? How long did it take you to learn the Nashville number system? So I do read a little bit of music, but it really doesn't matter as a guitar player here. You really need to know the Nashville number system, though. That's a crucial skill. Crucial. You have to be able to write out charts. You have to be able to do this stuff very quickly as well. It's just a crucial skill, and it didn't take long for me at all. I'm completely self-taught, so it's very easy to understand. There's just other things that you have to understand for the Nashville number system to make sense, and this is something that I talk about all the time within my one-on-ones. I teach people from all over the world how to read these number systems and how to create these number charts. I talk about this all of the time in my one-on-ones. So if you yourself would like to learn how to do it, hit me up today at jkm4231@gmail.com. I'd be happy to get you on the books today for a consultation. Let's see. Doopy Killa says only one guitar. He says Telecaster. My 335, he's afraid of damaging it. Yeah, I get that. Totally get that. Yeah, I mean, I've got that 61 dot neck that is just mint, man. It's just, it's one of the nicest examples I've ever seen of a 335. There's no breaks. It's all original except the frets. And it's like, people fight me in the comments all the time from behind their keyboard and from behind their iPhone or whatever. And, man, I really don't care. I love having new frets on a vintage guitar. To me, it makes absolutely zero sense if you're going to go in and buy a vintage guitar that does not have good frets. What is the point of that? It just makes no sense. You're not going to be able to intonate the guitar well. It's not going to play well at all. It just feels terrible. Like, you got to have good frets. Now, I'm not a fan of jumbo frets, but you want frets that are going to be similar to the size of what would have been on there originally. Why the hell would I want to play frets that are 50 years old or 60 years old? I mean, it just makes zero sense. And, people fight me all the time in the comment section about the refrets and stuff. And it just gets so tiring to listen to be honest. It doesn't affect the value of the guitar at all. And do you really want those frets to be original? That's really what I ask people out there. It makes zero sense. I would never want the frets to be original. It's just crazy. And we've got William in the house here. He says, "Yep, I agree," in all caps, but misspells both words. Cool. But, yeah, I just will never understand that with the frets, man. I mean, that argument is just so dumb. Like, oh, it's not 100% original because it doesn't have the original frets. It's like, I mean, it's going to need new frets. That's basically like saying that a vintage car doesn't have the original tires. That's literally, it's like the same comparison, the same argument there. So I'll never understand it, but hey, to each their own. But yeah, this 61 Dotnack 335, it is just to die for, man. I love that guitar so much. It's just amazing. I mean, honestly, if I had that in my 64 Strat and my 60 Les Paul Special, that's really all the guitars that I would want. It's just amazing. Like, for me, I like to have all of the different tonal varieties, like the SG, the Firebird's a very unique tone, the Strat, the P90 sound, the Telecaster, all of that stuff. I like having all of the different tones, but really, if I could just narrow it down to just 3 guitars, man, that 61 335, the TV Yellow Special with the P90s, and the 64 Strat, man, I could do everything with that, for sure. And William says here, yes, totally stupid. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think it is just such a stupid argument. It just makes zero sense. But, there's a lot of egos with this stuff, and, everybody knows more than the next guy about it, so it's just whatever. I just laugh it off, it's just so funny, like, these guys on YouTube or just social media in general, I mean, they just hide out from their camera or from their iPhone or their computer screen or whatever, and, I mean, it's just laughable. The whole thing is just laughable, like, they think that they're so tough, and they can just hide out and type up the exact perfect comment, but they would never say some of the stuff that they say to my face. They would never do it. They're too scared. So, just funny. But anyways, folks, once again, if you guys would like to support this channel, these live streams are truly, truly a donation of time. So if you guys would like to throw a super chat here in today's live stream, or even throw a little love in the Venmo or PayPal tip jar, that's all linked down below in the description box. And check out all of the other links while you're down there. I offer one-on-one online consultations. I'm a Sweetwater Music affiliate partner, and there's a lot of cool ways you can support this channel. So thank you for listening, and be sure to support this channel. Any and all support is really appreciated. These live streams are truly a donation of time. So. Let's see. Doopy Killa says, I heard that Tom Bukovac brings all his nice guitars with him on the road. It's kind of cool if you can bring your vintage stuff and you're up for keeping an eye on it and keeping care of it. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, the stuff's got to be played. What the hell is the point of having it if you're not going to play it and take it out and perform with it and play it? I mean, it makes literally no sense. And that's another whole part of my refretting rant and the whole argument with all of that is like, what is the point of going out and spending this kind of money on a guitar, on an instrument, when you can't even play it? It is unplayable with these original frets. So it's like, man, I want to take it out. I want to perform with it. I want to record with it. I want to play this stuff. I mean, for me, what is the point of having this instrument if you cannot even play it? Just makes no sense. So that's the whole idea with it. The whole idea with these instruments is to create, to be inspired, to perform with it, share it with people, share the music with the people. That's the whole idea with it. So that's what I would say with that. But yeah, I mean, like this 335 makes me a little bit nervous to bring it out, but I am definitely going to be playing it for sure, without a doubt. This stuff has to be played, There's no breaks on that guitar. It's completely original besides the frets. It's factory stop tail. I mean, it's just in collector grade condition too. Like the cherry finish on it is just absolutely stunning. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to definitely bring that out. And even my 64 Firebird 5, bring that out. And, my Strat. I mean, all these guitars, man, I use them, man. I mean, that's the whole point of them, again, is to play music and to use them. So absolutely love this stuff, though. And it just never ends. I'm always finding more instruments that I'm just like, oh, man, that'd be so nice to have. It's just really an addiction, man. It really is. It's just so fun, man. I love vintage guitars. I love collecting this stuff, and I just enjoy it so much, I love playing music. I love collecting it, and it just never ends, man. There's always something else that is out there. It's like, oh, this SG would be really cool. Like I was playing this 69 SG Custom for those that are just joining us here. I was playing this 69 Walnut SG Custom that was just to die for, man. It was so good. It was just so overpriced that I just couldn't justify it. I couldn't do it. But it was so inspiring to play, man, and I just loved it, man. No breaks, all original. It was amazing. But I'm even thinking about it now. I'm like, oh, man, maybe I should go back over there. But, it's just, it's too much. It's too much money, man. It's way too much money for that. So, but that guitar would be amazing. I would love to have it for sure. So. And I also would love to have a vintage Telecaster. I'm getting at a point now where I have a good collection of stuff that I could use as trade leverage for something. Like I have a reissue Pelham Blue SG that I really like a lot. It's a Murphy Lab light aged. But I'm like, I have a good pile of stuff like that guitar. I have this custom shop Telly that's really cool. And I have an R9 Les Paul that's great. I love that guitar. But I'm like, man, if I were to sell all three of those and then go in on one like holy grail instrument, and even like I have 3 plexis here that I've honestly thought about, like, what if I were to just go down to just one plexi? So with those 3 instruments and getting rid of 2 plexis, man, I could get something really cool. So I kind of think about that sometimes. I'm like, maybe I should consider doing that. But I really go back and forth on it because I love all the plexis and I love these instruments, so it's just a sickness, But anyways, let's see. Doopy Killa says here, what was your favorite piece of vintage gear that you used in 2024, and what was your favorite piece of new gear if you had one? Good question. So, man, that's really hard to just narrow down to just one favorite piece of vintage gear. Because I have so much of it. I have some great Marshall plexis here. My favorite instrument, I would say, is my 335. That was definitely the highlight of last year for sure. 61 335 dot neck. It's just a dream guitar to have. It's a holy grail instrument, and I'm so fortunate to have it. That was definitely the highlight of 2024 for sure, I would say. And then favorite piece of new gear if you had one. I would say the HX1, man, from Line 6 Effects. The HX1 is the best pedal that has come out in the past 15, 20 years, I would say. It is that good. The thing is absolutely amazing, and I'm not sponsored by them at all. I bought it with my own money, and I'm just honestly sharing this stuff with you guys. I know there's a lot of guys out there that really BS the viewers, and it's not fair to the viewers at all because there's, behind closed doors, there's all kinds of arrangements and things going on. But for me, I literally bought this with my own money, and I have to tell you guys, it is the best pedal that has come out in the past 20 years, in my opinion. The thing is absolutely incredible. It's so good. Let's see. Backpacker says here, what's the point of having the instrument if you can't play it? Leo Fender would like a word. Rumor has it he wasn't a guitar player at all. Yeah, that's a point, man. Sure. I mean, and that's true. Like, it's amazing how, he was able to really get the design of it just totally perfect and together. It's just amazing, and he wasn't even a player. But it's just, again, like, in my opinion, I just don't understand. And I'm not saying, like, just any instrument. I'm really talking about vintage guitars and how they are priced nowadays. Like, man, if you're going to spend a significant amount of money on this instrument, what is the point of actually having it if it's unplayable? That's what I'm talking about, more in the vintage guitars. I'm not talking about instruments that are made today or whatever. Like, obviously those are going to have good frets and stuff, but, these vintage instruments that are 50, 60, 70 years old, what is the point of having it if it's unplayable? That's what I just don't understand. So, let's see. William says here, Davidson's well-strung guitars on Long Island, New York. An amazing collection of old guitars for sale. Wow. Check out the website when you can. I was just there not too long ago. And then says, you won't be disappointed. Cool. I'll check it out for sure. Definitely. It sounds awesome. And we've got CZ in the house. Hey, CZ, how's it going? Thanks so much for being here. Another very loyal supporter and a regular supporter here of the channel and the live streams. Good morning. How's it going? Hope all is well. Good to see you here. And, it's just really cool, folks, to see all these familiar names and familiar usernames and see everybody regularly joining up. I really appreciate this. It really means the world to me that you guys are such loyal supporters and you guys love my videos so much and love my music and my art. It really is just beautiful. So I really can't thank you all enough for all of this. It really means the world to me. I do want to take the time to mention, folks, that these live streams are truly a donation of time. So if you guys would like to support this channel, feel free to throw a little love in the Venmo Tip Jar or the PayPal Tip Jar or even a Super Chat here in today's live stream. And I also want to take the time to mention here, folks, that I offer one-on-one online consultations. These consultations are absolutely amazing, and you're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these consultations. And what's so cool with these consultations is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the consultation at the very end, so you can simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you like, so you can always go back and retain all of the information and go back and just watch the lesson over and over and over again, and you won't forget anything. And the platform and the system just works so well. It is just amazing. It is really amazing. So for some more information on this, hit me up today at jkm4231@gmail.com. That's also going to be linked down below in the description box. Thank you all so much for listening to that. So once again, folks, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer anything. Once again, I do avoid any questions that would interfere with my one-on-ones. So I'll just assess it on a question-by-question basis. But pretty much anything goes. Anything is fine. We've had some amazing questions here, amazing engagement here in today's live stream. And this is what I just enjoy so much about this as well, is like, I just love to see where the conversation goes. You never really know where it's going to go, and I just love that. I love being spontaneous. I love just answering y'all's questions and being able to connect with everybody. Once again, I really appreciate everybody out there that supports my channel and loves my music and my art. It really means the world to me, and it's just so fulfilling and it's so rewarding to be able to do this and share this stuff with you guys. I just absolutely love it. So again, thank you for all of that. But anyways, today is Sunday football. We have some big games coming up here, and I actually went out last night. I was talking a little bit about it earlier on in today's live stream, but I was really sad to see the Lions lose, man. I was really disappointed. I was really hoping that it would be the Lions and the Bills for the Super Bowl this year, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. The Lions lost last night, and I was just so disappointed, but it's going to be a tough game, too, the Bills versus the Ravens, man. That's a really good game. That's going to be an amazing game. So got some great football on today here, and I'm going to probably go out and watch some games here today after today's live stream. But it's sad that football is coming to an end as well. I always get pretty disappointed when that comes to an end, but because now it's not going to be until fall of this year until we have more football. But oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens. I'll be curious to see the results of these games here today and see who's going to end up making the Super Bowl. Just in general. I'll be curious to see what happens there. So looking forward to that. But anyways, once again, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. Looks like here I've been going for about an hour and 5 minutes now at this point. Really hard to believe, these live streams always fly by, and it's always so much fun just connecting with everybody and, just talking and seeing where the conversation goes once again. It's just really awesome. And, be sure to check out all of the links that I have linked down below. And also stay tuned for a bunch more videos that I have coming up. I have some really amazing videos that are coming up, and I think you guys will really dig them. So stay tuned for all of that. The latest videos have been doing incredibly well as of late. It's just been amazing, The views are just through the roof, and the community is just growing. And it's just amazing what this community has turned into. The people are just some of the most loving people that write me beautiful emails and beautiful comments and stuff. So I really do appreciate all that as well. And it looks like here, CZ says here, love this channel, and you too, Justin. Thanks so much. And also says, glad I caught you. Yeah, thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it. And, it's just cool, again, to see everybody on here and seeing just all of these very loyal supporters. Let's see, and we've got a super chat here from Doopy Killa. Hey man, thanks so much for the super chat. Give you some sound effects. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. And thanks for the support, and thanks for always being here. This is a name I recognize here on the channel and on these live streams. Very, very loyal supporter and very regular viewer. And again, thank you so much for that. Says here, do you have a cutoff year for vintage? Oh yeah, absolutely. Have a 77 Telecaster all original that was made custom back in the day. It has a Brazilian rosewood neck, is heavy, yeah, but it plays really, really well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess if it has Brazilian rosewood, that's a selling point for sure to a lot of collectors, but any of that 70s stuff, man, I'm out on that stuff, man. I mean, there are some instruments you can find that are like very early 70 or 71, but man, or even 72 even, but that's really as far into the 70s that I'm willing to go, because the stuff is just so bad. I mean, it's just so heavy and just plays terrible. Like, it's just not good stuff at all. So definitely, I would say honestly, if you were to buy a 70s instrument, I honestly would rather just wait it out and just get a reissue instrument and play that instead of the 70s. Just find a good reissue. If really your two options are a 70s, like a mid 70s especially, in comparison to a reissue, I would much rather have a reissue at that case. But what else? Yeah, I mean, this Tele has a Brazilian rosewood neck, which, that's cool. I mean, that's huge selling point to a lot of collectors, but I don't know, man. I honestly, personally, would stay away from it, to be honest. But good luck in selling it, if you do end up selling it. I don't know, I mean, if you are trying to sell it, that is. But, again, if you like it and you're inspired to play it, it doesn't matter what anybody has to say, You just enjoy what you enjoy and keep playing, man. Keep creating music. It doesn't really matter what anybody has to say. So that's what I would say with that as well. So thanks for the super chat and thanks for the question again. And CZ says here, Rosewood. And also, I just saw a 62 Rosewood Tele this week. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Yeah, that I bet that's cool. How much, I wonder? That's the thing. I would love to have a vintage Telecaster, and I'd love to have a great vintage SG. Those are like the two guitars that I'm really missing in my vintage collection right now. Because I have the 61 Dot Neck 335, I have a 60 Les Paul Special, I have a 64 Firebird 5, a 64 Strat, and I'm really just missing a great vintage Telly and a great SG. You know, I would love to have a 59 Les Paul, but they are insanely expensive, so I don't know. For me right now, that's definitely out of the question, but never say never. You know, I would love to have one day, for sure. Let's see. Where was I? CZ says it was. And Doopy Killer says heavy AF. Yep, yeah, definitely. And also says, hey, I also saw that guy's burst, and I can't say anymore, or you know who it was. I'm sworn to secrecy. Okay, cool. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not familiar. But let's see. We got another comment here. Somebody from Brazil, it looks like. Man, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I just speak English. Really appreciate you being here, and it's really cool to see you're from Brazil. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it, but I don't know what any of that means. Let's see. Doopy Killa says it was a custom. I feel like it got some attention. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. You know, again, if you enjoy that instrument and you enjoy playing it, man, keep playing it. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Just enjoy it, man. For me, normally, it's just kind of a thing where, like, I do have a cutoff in that I just normally am not even really interested in picking up a 70s instrument just to even try it, just because it's just like, I just know what it's going to be. It's going to be super heavy and just not really well built at all. Even some of those too, like even the way that the body looks, the way that it was made, the way it was cut, like it's just not good at all. And it's like, when it comes to investing that kind of money into an instrument, you have to also look at it that it is an investment when you're spending that kind of money, you know? So that's kind of the thing, is like, my whole thing is I would rather just hold on to the money and just find a great 60s instrument that I know is going to be amazing. I know it'll retain the value, you know? Well, I guess not that I know it's going to be amazing, but really that it's going to retain its value, it's going to be a solid investment, and you know, just I know that they're out there. I know there's going to be 60s instruments that are out there that are going to be amazing. It's just all about finding that one. That's the thing. That's what's hard, because they're all so different. You know, just because it's a vintage guitar does not mean it's great. There's a lot of them that are really bad, honestly. So, you know, but that's my thing, is like, I would rather be patient, wait it out, find something that is really excellent, and just really throw down the cash on it and just do it one time, and I never have to mess with it ever again. You know, because then, like, even if you settle for something cheaper like that, like a 70s, mid-70s Fender or Gibson, you're now going to have to try to sell that, and it's going to take forever. Nobody's going to really want it, and you're not going to get the same money you put into it a lot of the time, so it's just not worth it in general. I'd rather just wait it out. So, but anyways, man, I've been going for about an hour 15 here. Really appreciate everybody's questions. Really appreciate all the engagement in today's live stream. I've been going here for a good while now at this point, and honestly, I'm starting to get a little tired. But if you guys do have any other questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box, or feel free to send me an email. I'd be happy to write you all back. And once again, if you guys are interested in any one-on-one online consultations, hit me up today at jkm4231@gmail.com. I'd be happy to get you on the schedule today. I'm teaching people from all over the world, and you're seeing and hearing the exact setup that I actually use for these consultations. It's really professional, it's really well done, and what's so cool with these consultations, once again, is that you actually will get a recorded copy of the lesson itself. So you could simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you like. So again, for some more information, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. I'd be happy to get you down on the schedule. I really appreciate all the support here on this channel. Be sure to check out all of the links that I have down below there in the description box. There's all kinds of ways you can support this channel. And check out all of that stuff. And stay tuned. I've got a bunch more videos coming up here soon. So, I think with that, that's going to be all for today's live stream. I really do appreciate everybody's support. Once again, I can't say it enough. And thank you all so much for being here on today's live stream. Come on back and join me up next Sunday. I'll be going live here as well, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be live here on YouTube. So get your questions ready. Come on in and join the party. I love having everybody here. And we will see you then. Y'all stay tuned for a bunch more videos coming up as well. I'm working on a new one here that I'll probably have up here today. So stay tuned for all of that. And with that, that is all for today. Thank you all so much for joining me on today's live stream. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you all next time. Take care.